Hi and welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. It's that time of year, that's right. WrestleMania is this weekend. It's too big for one night. Apparently, it's going to be on Saturday and Sunday this year. And we've got 16 matches to talk about, which will be coming up in about 60 seconds time if you want to skip ahead in the video. But quickly going to give my thoughts on WrestleMania. Of course, I gave a video a couple of weeks ago saying that I do believe this event should have been postponed, but for whatever reason this has gone ahead, and we'll have to give it our support. All the athletes are going to be giving their best for us on the event, so I am now going to be giving full support for this show going forward. I do feel sympathy towards WWE. I know a lot of people have criticised the booking leading up to WrestleMania, but the last 3 to 4 weeks have been out of anybody's control, so I mean usually that's where a lot of rivalries seem to heighten up. At least WWE had put some effort into a few of the matches before we got to this stage where we were in front of empty arenas. Now, of course, this will be on 2 nights. I don't know which matches are on which night, and of course, looking at it as well, that means we're probably going to get 8 matches on one night, 8 matches on the next. There are rumours to have been some changes to the card as well, so I'll be discussing those matches towards the end of the video, but I'll be going through the matches first of what I do believe is going ahead as planned. I hope that everything goes ahead as it should. I hope that health and safety has come first, and I hope that everyone will be okay going forward after WrestleMania, regardless of what happens, whether there's more tapings or not more tapings. So I've said my bit there with the feelings there of WrestleMania, what I think of it. Yes, I do think it should have been postponed. Am I looking forward to it as it is going ahead? Well, yeah, I am. Perhaps because of the fact it's a unique experience. I don't know if we will have another WrestleMania ever like this again. As I said, there's probably arguments whether it should have been like it in the first place, but it's going to be something special. I mean, my only fear is it doesn't feel WrestleMania. Although looking at the card for me is strong. The atmosphere will not feel like a WrestleMania. The size of venue will not feel like it. But it's what we've got. It's what's going to go ahead. And like I say, I sometimes WWE pull out the bag when their back's against the wall. I'm hoping that they're going to put out a great show over 2 nights here for us, and where they're going to keep people entertained, because that's what they're looking to do here. They're looking to entertain people and give people a few hours of escape at this difficult time. And for that, I do try and support it, like I say, as long as it goes above health and safety. So I think I've rambled on enough. I think it's time to go into predictions and give my thoughts as the matches as we go through. I feel I have to start on this one, the last man standing match. Edge versus Randy Orton. Let's start on a positive note, shall we? This has been built to absolute perfection. It's not mattered if we had a crowd, no crowd, how it's gone about. This has been absolutely brilliant to watch and play out through the number of months. From the moment that Edge returned at the Royal Rumble to that big pop, you knew we had something special here with Edge. We knew we were going to get a WrestleMania match that we'd look forward to. The only sad part is I do feel sorry for the guy that it's in front of nobody. But here's to where I think it's going to be to the advantage. Randy Orton and Edge have put on some killer promos. They've told such an amazing story going through, from Randy Orton turning on Edge the following night to the beatdowns on Matt Hardy, to attacking his Beth Phoenix as well, his wife, making the name drops of Edge's children. It's just the whole thing's been played out in the storytelling where Randy Orton's been on top of his game. Edge always puts out an amazing promo, and we've seen a lot of promo work go back and forth the last few weeks where we've had almost like a no contact clause, it feels, before WrestleMania, because they've wanted to do as little matches in these Raw and SmackDowns as possible. So, going to the match itself and why I think it'll be a benefit, there's no people there, and I think that the story's played out so well that actually, in a weird, creepy way, this match is going to benefit from no people there. If Randy Orton is on his game and tells the story as and when it can be done, it can be done absolutely perfect. It can be genius. If anything, this is how I would like to see it booked. I want this match scheduled for night 1, but I want an attack on Edge before the match happens, to the point that Edge cannot go, and that this match, instead of being given as a reward to Randy Orton, as he wants, is that he's already the last man standing, then it's put over to night 2. I just want something as a reason to go from night 1 to night 2, just to feel these 2 WrestleMania shows connect in some way. And I think this is the rivalry that is perfect to do a storytelling, to give Randy Orton the advantage going into the match, to really sort of make Edge suffer throughout the match. And, we then see that babyface come back to the point of where I go to my actual prediction here. And I think think Edge will pick up the victory. That's how I hope it's booked. However it is booked, I believe Edge will come out victorious at WrestleMania 36. Next, we'll look at Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Another rivalry that's been very interesting. I mean, this one has been in the books really since December. They started these two having their rivalry. They've been involved in so many multi-man matches, whether it's tag team, 6-man, 8-man tags. You probably feel like that you don't need to see this match, but they've not had a one-on-one encounter throughout this entire rivalry. So WWE has managed to really keep this called off to the point where these two are going one-on-one for the first time at WrestleMania, and I believe that was always the vision. So, I mean, of course, yes, we can turn and say these guys have fought for the Universal Championship back in 2016, but in this current rivalry, they kept each other apart for 4 months on a one-on-one environment. I like the twist that's gone in since this has been moved to the Performance Center. This has been turned into like a home field advantage for Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins saying that this, this Performance Center he never performed of, but is there because of him. I just love the way that these two have managed to almost make a new rivalry out of the rivalry they had before. Seth doesn't really have his backup now because AOP, apparently one of them's got injured. Buddy Murphy, I believe, is not going to be around during this. So it's a clear one-on-one encounter. Samoa Joe as well was injured also. So this is just strictly one-on-one here. There's no Viking Raiders. There's going to be no Street Profits helping. It's a great one-on-one encounter. And as well as that, Seth Rollins has brought up the fact that he's had so many great WrestleMania moments, and Kevin Owens really, it's not really worked for him on the big show at this point, really. I mean, yes, he did have a victory over Chris Jericho a number of years ago, but I remember seeing on documentaries that has not always been received well backstage. Now, how true that is, it seems to be portrayed on those network specials. So, yeah, Kevin Owens has a victory at WrestleMania, but does he have the performance to go with it, to have that WrestleMania moment? It feels to me that this is being built almost like Big Show and Cody Rhodes a number of years ago, where Cody was saying Big Show had never had that sort of WrestleMania moment, and he got it. He got the victory. So I think here, Seth Rollins, he doesn't need the victory here. This not going to harm him. Kevin Owens is going to pick up the victory, and it's 2-0 to the baby faces. Kevin Owens here will have that home field advantage and will pick up the victory at WrestleMania, getting his WrestleMania moments. Next, we're going to look at the Intercontinental Championship, a match that has been built quite well, I think, for the circumstances. Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn. I think we probably would have had a similar kind of in-ring stuff on SmackDown each and every week anyway. And we're getting this great match. Two great in-ring performers for the Intercontinental Championship. Some might argue Daniel Bryan, look, he was in the championship picture last year, but Daniel Bryan, for me, is one of those one or two superstars on the roster that's an exception to the rule. It doesn't matter if he's the opening act or the main event, he still fits in wherever it goes. He's got the namesake, and I think for this particular moment in his career, he's on a roster that's got so many big sort of larger-than-life superstars like the Fiend, Braun Strowman. Goldberg is the Universal Champion, or the Blue Universal Champion if you want, on SmackDown at the moment. Roman Reigns is on that roster, so he's a smaller guy, and I think he actually would benefit right now from holding a mid-card championship. So him and Sami Zayn, for me, I think are positioned very well on the card at this particular moment. I think they're going to put out a great match. Is it a shame it's not in front of people? Yes, but I think it's going to be a fun match going forward, and I do predict that here is my first title change of the evening, and I do believe that Daniel Bryan will walk away Intercontinental Champion, and we'll probably see this feud continue after WrestleMania. So yeah, I've been particularly happy with it. I like the pairings that they've got with the Artist Collective, Sami Zayn, Cesaro and Nakamura. I'm liking the combination of Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. I do believe that there's a future tag team and some chemistry there in the future, but for right now, I think the IC Championship is the way to go, and I see a new Intercontinental Champion in Daniel Bryan. Next, we'll look at the Women's Tag Team Championships. The Kabuki Warriors defending against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Raw versus SmackDown here, and I think it's been put together as well as it can do. I mean, Kairi Sane hasn't been around. I believe, according to Dave Meltzer, that she was recently married in Japan a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if there's a situation she's been quarantined or whatever, but she's not been able to get to the Performance Center, so Asuka has carried the load on Raw and SmackDown for a number of weeks, and may I say, extremely entertaining doing so as well. Asuka has come to life in a character right now. The Japanese promos are just working for her with the occasional words said in English, and she's absolutely mental, but I thoroughly enjoy it. It's great to see. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, they've kind of been asking for this match for a number of weeks, got their chance to prove to get themselves that match with Alexa Bliss picking up the victory over Asuka on a recent episode of SmackDown. It's built this match together well. This is one of the few matches that I really don't know one way or another it's going to go. I would not be surprised if the Kabuki Warriors were to retain the championships, but I do think it is time for a title change here, and I think it's time for the Kabuki Warriors to be chasing the belts, because if they win, I don't really know where there is for them to go after this. So for me, I'd like to see Bliss and Nikki Cross actually win the championships here. It would be a nice little twist if the Kabuki Warriors were to retain, to see Bliss turn on Nikki Cross and turn heel, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it would be a nice twist if it was to happen. But I'm going to go for Bliss and Cross to pick up the victory here at this particular time. I think a title change would make things fresher, and yeah, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily rule the Kabuki Warriors out becoming champions again. It's just, it would give their reign a bit of a breather, and it would keep everybody fresh in the women's tag team division. Next match we're going to look at is the Undertaker versus AJ Styles, a Boneyard match. I'm assuming is going to be a bit like Buried Alive, going to be filmed at a different location to the Performance Center. Nice to see. It breaks things up a little bit because we're going to see an empty arena. This is going to be something that's completely wacky and totally different to what we would expect to see anywhere else on the card. So for that, it's kind of interesting. And I think in a one way as well, and I mean to be respectful when I say this, but I think this could protect The Undertaker here a little bit, because they have the ability of pre-recording here. I think that we're going to get a decent encounter out of the two. AJ Styles is a very safe worker, a fantastic choice for an opponent for The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Some would argue that the way the match has been built together has not been perfect. Yes, it's not great to see AJ Styles lose to one chokeslam. The Undertaker's cost him a couple of matches, but I don't think any of that harms AJ Styles. He's another one of those people like Daniel Bryan. He can be anywhere on the card. It does not hurt. It does not harm him. So for me personally, I've not had a major problem with it. I love the twist. We've gone with the real names here. We've been bringing up The Undertaker's wife, Michelle McCool. AJ Styles has dug a hole so deep that he's going to need to find a way to get out of, which makes the Boneyard match stipulation work perfectly. So from that way, I think things are going okay in the booking direction, if you're to ask my personal opinion. Do I expect Gallows and Anderson to get involved? Of course I do, but they're not going to get here where they're going to get the advantage over The Undertaker, where AJ Styles has been able to use them against the likes of Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, Aleister Black even through the calendar year. He's not going to get the advantage with these two against The Undertaker, and I do think AJ Styles, as much as I want to always book and see for the future, AJ Styles doesn't get hurt with a loss here either, so I expect to see The Undertaker pick up the victory. I would be quite happy if AJ Styles was to win this match. Personally, I will be rooting for AJ Styles. I'll be rooting, when it's always the part-timers, for the full-time talent to go over, because of the fact that I think it benefits the company in a long-term vision. But I don't think that's what the WWE are going to do, and Undertaker's only lost twice at WrestleMania. I would be surprised if there was a third loss at WrestleMania at this stage in his career, because it probably wouldn't make the headlines that it has made previously. So for me, The Undertaker picks up the victory here at WrestleMania. Next will be one of our quicker matches to go through, Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley, a match that's just simply been thrown together. Aleister Black, someone's been pushed very hard now over the past 12 months on, first SmackDown, then Raw. He's only lost once in singles competition on the main roster, and that was to AJ Styles, thanks to helps with Gallows and Anderson. I'm surprised not a bigger deal was made of it, but he did beat AJ Styles at the last pay-per-view, of course, as we said there a minute ago, was actually an assist to The Undertaker. Lashley has been missing off TV for weeks. It's not going to do him any harm to take a loss here. Aleister Black will be my choice of victor here. And as well as that, Aleister Black was rumoured to be the guy that could have been facing Brock Lesnar on this event, but they went with Drew McIntyre. So they clearly have high hopes for Aleister Black, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was a quick encounter. Next match we're going to look at is the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. Now, I'm going to be slightly negative on this one because I'm not sure that this has been booked the best going in. The biting of the neck I wasn't such a fan of. Yes, okay, it was shocking TV, and I think that that's what they were looking to do. But looking at that for myself personally, I wasn't such a fan of it. And at this point, we knew this was going to be the Mania match. They decided, though, that had to fast-track Shayna Baszler through the entire Raw Women's division on that Elimination Chamber. Did it do its message at that Chamber match? Yes, it did. Did we need to sit through it for half an hour to watch it? No, we didn't. I think it would have made more sense for a number one contenders match against Asuka or something like that at the time, rather than destroying the entire Raw Women's division. But they needed to make her where she was the number one challenger at a quick rate, and they did that. and we've had some promo work building between these two. Some altercations as well. We've had a steel chair to the back of Shayna Baszler. We had Baszler hit, put a submission on Becky Lynch on Raw. It does make me wonder where this is going to be going for, because this match has sort of been in the works since Survivor Series. For me, Baszler should have won the Rumble. I think that would have been the natural way to have booked this feud, would have kept her strong. I don't see why she should have even been the Rumble at all if she wasn't going to win it, which of course she came as a runner-up to Charlotte Flair. When we look at this, from the result standpoint, I do think it's too soon for Baszler. I really do. I think she is the right person to beat Becky Lynch because of the fact that Becky Lynch has got arguably nowhere else to go now if she was to retain the championship. But I do wonder if it would make more sense from a booking standpoint, especially time standpoint right now, if Becky Lynch was a person who would pick up a escape victory, like a cheap roll-up, not actually winning here convincingly, but is actually to escape with her championship and then lose it at a later date when they've got more chance to build Baszler up further. The thing that makes me go with my prediction, though, I don't think that will happen. I think they've booked Baszler to be a strong, dominant heel, and Becky Lynch is the person that's going to be trying to stop it. But we've got so many faces already on the card for me winning, and somewhere along the line, we need a heel or two to pick up a victory. And I do think that they're going to go for this shock value. It's probably the best place, probably in one way where it's no crowd, so we're not going to, but then you're lacking the heat, so maybe it is not the right place. No crowd doesn't always benefit, and I don't know, maybe this is a match that could suffer with that. You obviously want to take the air out of the room if Baszler is going to win, but the air has already kind of been sucked out. I will go for the prediction of Shayna Baszler to pick up the victory, but I'm not entirely sure how the booking standpoint is going to go with this match going in, and I'm not even convinced what is the right method to go going out, but for me, Baszler at this moment I have as the victor. One match that's going to suffer massively through no crowd, Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. Mandy Rose probably going to be in Dolph Ziggler's corner here at the event. This match, I tell you, the crowd was so invested in this storyline at the Elimination Chamber and going in before we had the no crowds. It's almost a shame that Otis is not going to get his WrestleMania moment here with this big cheap pop. I think that the match has been put together perfectly. One of my favourite stories and rivalries going on for the entire calendar year. We've seen Dolph Ziggler actually having a moment backstage with Sonya Deville. I wonder if Deville was to do with that text. We never really found out who was the person responsible for that text of why Otis was late for his date with Mandy Rose on Valentine's Day. Maybe we'll find out on WrestleMania. Maybe that's what we're going to find as the final straw that may lead to what I think is going to happen, which is I think Mandy Rose is going to turn on Ziggler and Otis is going to get the victory. It's not a double switch or anything like that. It's just Mandy turning face, and it's Otis getting his WrestleMania moment, picking up a victory. Not saying he's got a romantic interest going forward, but he's certainly got a friendship going forward. Definitely maybe a stronger bond going forward, Mandy Rose, than after what happened on Valentine's Day. So Otis is going to pick up the victory for me here. He's the guy that walks away victorious. Next, we're going to look at the NXT Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley against Charlotte Flair. A match that I think has been put together pretty well under the circumstances. This was going in a nice direction when Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble. It was my call at the time, thinking that this was the only championship she should go for. Becky Lynch and Bayley, she's faced a million times before, so this made most sense for me. The only thing that doesn't make sense is that one NXT championship is on the line at WrestleMania and not the other. I would have loved to have seen Adam Cole involved in a match on one of these two nights, as it's a two-night event. But we're talking about the match we've got at hand here. Both ladies, I think, this could be the first of many matches for many years to come between these two. I think that they're going to knock it out of the park. I've got a lot of faith that this is going to be one of the matches of possibly even the weekend, let alone the night. Rhea Ripley is doing a great job as a face, and when she won the NXT Women's Championship, that match was booked very well, and she had everyone, of course, behind her at the time. Now, I know that this was a no-crowd scenario, but Charlotte Flair is good at, she's great as a heel. She's better as a heel than she is as a face. And one thing I want to see throughout a lot of matches here, but I think these two will deliver that in this match, is a bit of verbal confrontation throughout the match. I think that's the best way to keep you invested and keep telling the story rather than just doing move after move. Let's hear a bit of, a bit of ugly words said in between moves during these matches. And I think this is one of the matches that I almost feel like it's guaranteed that we're going to get that. A few woos, a bit of come on tap outs and stuff, and really giving that feeling that Rhea Ripley is out of her league here against Charlotte Flair to only make that babyface come back and prove that she is mania worthy. She's worthy of facing Charlotte Flair, and she's worthy of beating Charlotte Flair. I think that we have potentially a star-making performance for Rhea Ripley going in to this WrestleMania and going out of this WrestleMania into the rest of 2020, regardless of what happens from the taping standpoint after here. Next, we're going to look at John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, in a Firefly Funhouse match. Now, obviously, this is a different set, a different location. Interesting because obviously it breaks things up a little bit. We've not just got a simple one-on-one match. John Cena's done a lot of acting now as well, so I'm sure that he'll probably have a bit of creative direction in this of where it should go. The Fiend, for his own character, may have a little bit of direction of where he'd like to see this go. I'm hoping this is going to work. I must admit, I'm not as confident with this as I want to be. I'm only confident on the result at the end of it. But as a booking standpoint, The Fiend has done usually better in matches. It's been better in promos than matches. The only match that I feel has really come off so well so far is the match with Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble. I hope that it's going to be a good match between these two, and I hope that The Fiend is going to get what he wants from this. Of course, this is built from 6 years earlier. The Fiend becoming almost was the old Bray Wyatt character, and said that this was the original birthplaces where we led to getting the Fiend was the loss at WrestleMania 30 against John Cena. Well, at this stage of the game, John Cena doesn't need a victory. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, can get his victory back, and we're going to get in this wacky Firefly Funhouse, which should be to Wyatt's advantage. So, am I looking forward to it? Yes. Do I have high hopes for it? No, but I'm hoping to be surprised from this. I would be very interested to see how they're going to utilise the other characters, maybe at the Firefly Funhouse here. Maybe Rambling Rabbit could be on John Cena's side here, and we see him get beaten or murdered again, as Rambling Barrett seems to be every time we see the Firefly Funhouse. Maybe we see Huskus involved there somewhere as like an older version of Bray, maybe at some point to distract John Cena. It would be interesting to see how it's going to play out. Maybe there are a lot more fun elements to this match than what perhaps I realise at this moment. But hopefully it'll be interesting. I'm going to go for the Fiend to pick up the victory, and I'm going to move on now to our next match, which will be the Raw Tag Team Championships. The Street Profits going to be taking on Austin Theory and Angel Garza with Zelina Vega in their corner. I'm a bit excited for this match because Austin Theory and Angel Garza are doing great work in NXT. Andrade was supposed to be in this match with Angel Garza, and he's apparently picked up an injury, so he's unable to compete. So it's nothing to do with what's going on in the world right now. It's actually an injury that's kept him out. I'm going to go for the Street Profits to pick up the victory here. I would have perhaps gone differently had we gone with Garza and Andrade, but at this point, the Street Profits have not had the belts for very long, and it would not be any harm to the heels here to take the loss here. The other thing that excites me with this is that Austin Theory, it feels like, is it a permanent bring to Raw? Because Angel Garza almost feels like it has been, as Zelina Vega said that he's a free agent no more, which implies to me this guy's on Raw, and they've got high hopes. I think for both Theory and Garza, their futures in WWE are very bright. Will they win the belts on this night? Not for me. But I tell you what, in about 3 or 4 years, don't be surprised to see one or both of these guys flirting towards the main event at a WrestleMania. Next, we're going to look at Elias versus King Corbin. The less said, the better. If homicide does not make you invested in this match, or attempted homicide, should I say, with Corbin literally throwing Elias off the top of that podium in the Performance Centre, nothing will get you invested in this match. Rob Gronkowski vouched and said that this match should happen. That says everything you need to know of why I would not be invested in this match. I will say very quickly that I'm not a fan of Rob Gronkowski being involved as the host of WrestleMania. For me, him and Mojo Rawley as a combo just do not connect. I didn't enjoy the segment I had with Elias and Corbin, and it's a shame because Corbin's been booked so well over the last 12 months, in my opinion. Elias could be booked better, but for some reason, this match for me does absolutely nothing. It doesn't even feel WWE main event, let alone WrestleMania, this match. But to pick a winner, I'm going to go for King Corbin because I think he deserves the win here. He's been, as I said, he overall has been booked well over the last 12 months. He defeated Kurt Angle last year. He's become King of the Ring. He's had a main event program with Roman Reigns. I think he should be the victor here going forward and can move on to something different straight after WrestleMania. Next, we'll look at the 5-way elimination match, which was also described that Bayley doesn't have to be pinned to lose her championship. So, is this an elimination match or is it a one fall? I'm not so sure, really. WWE have kind of confused me of what the rules are for this. But we've got Bayley, Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Tamina Snuka, and Naomi facing in a 5-way here. And I'm going to go for a title change here, but not for one of the faces. No, I'm thinking we're going to get our first scenes towards a Bayley and Sasha Banks program going forward after WrestleMania. Sasha Banks is going to be the one for me who is going to become the SmackDown Women's Champion, whether that happens to be via actually beating everybody or whether it is the one fall. A bit of me thinks that this would make most sense in the storyline on one fall because Sasha Banks can win the belt and Bayley can become jealous and it can fester over a number of weeks. So that's what I think would be a great booking decision. And Sasha Banks, well, it's been a long time since she's been women's champion. I think it's time to give her the belt. Next, we're going to look at what I think should be the main event of the two evenings, just in my personal opinion, the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar, the champion, defending against Drew McIntyre. Now, Paul Heyman's done some great promo work to build this. This was always built as well on the Royal Rumble performance alone. That was a one-night thing where you turned Drew into a megastar. And Drew has done so well with connecting the crowd before we had no crowds. I believe that Drew McIntyre was on his way to becoming a megastar in the company, not just a main eventer, but someone who could be solidifying himself as a main eventer for years to come. The face turn really feels like it's helped him, and we've got a character come out of Drew McIntyre here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it will play forward going in. The thing here with this match is that it is a no crowd now environment, which makes me wonder, is it the right time to give Drew the belt? Before it felt right, Tampa, that big stadium, Royal Rumble winner, main event, beating Brock Lesnar, I felt we had a magical moment that would make a career here. The only thing I do feel now is that it's probably going to have a little bit of shine taken off it because there's not a crowd, but I do think that it's going to still feel just as important and real to Drew McIntyre. I think we get a new champion here. I think McIntyre is going to be the guy to slay the beast on WrestleMania this year, and he's going to become the champion. And I do think that Drew McIntyre will probably have a rematch here. There'll probably be a way that they can do this in front of a crowd, hopefully in the next 6 months' time. And yeah, fingers crossed then that we can make Drew that star by retaining the championship that night. Certainly would be interesting to see how they would book that. But I'm going to go for Drew McIntyre because I do believe that that was the booking direction, and I don't think it's going to change. We go down to the last two matches now of the card, and the reason I've got the graphic here for this is what the match was meant to be. It was meant to be the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a 3-team ladder match. Miz is reportedly out of WrestleMania, and I have seen that apparently it's still meant to be a ladder match. John Morrison is going to take on potentially one of the Usos for sure, but possibly one of the New Day also. Now there's no word of who or which or what way around it's going to be, and this has been recorded before SmackDown this week, which makes me wonder if we were going to get told the information or not, but we'll have to wait and see. But for the purposes of this, this match was being built quite well. I do think the belts would have changed hands had this have been all the teams involved. But what I will say is that I am really enjoying Miz and Morrison's work together. And as Morrison is going to be involved here in a ladder match, I'm going to go for Morrison to win that ladder match. I do think if Kofi Kingston is the person involved for the New Day, I would have him personally win because it would be great after Kofi Mania last year for him to have a victory at Mania this year. But that's just a personal opinion. But as I still am not quite aware of who or what is going on with this match, I'm going to go for John Morrison to win the single ladder match because John Morrison, for me, I think that if it was him versus one of the Usos, I would actually feel more in favour of John Morrison picking up the victory. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the Universal Championship, the Blue Universal Championship. Goldberg, the champion. Oh dear, that was a bit of a weird booking strategy, wasn't it? And he was supposed to then take on Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is out of WrestleMania. He's even confirmed that on his Instagram account. Triple H has confirmed it also. It believes that the creative direction he will be taking on at Braun Strowman now going into WrestleMania. Braun hasn't done much to be credited earning this shot, really. He was Intercontinental Champion this time a few weeks ago, lost the belt in a 3-on-1 match, and all of a sudden moves up to the Universal Championship without any victories. I hope that this is built for something on SmackDown, maybe a number one contenders match or something. That would be a great way to see it. Even maybe night 1 of WrestleMania to go against Goldberg on night 2. I would be fine with that on a creative direction. But if you wanted my opinion of who I think will win here, Goldberg for me, I don't know if WWE are going to keep him going forward. I think he was due to drop the belt to Roman Reigns. I feel like that was the obvious booking direction of where they probably would go, which makes me think that if that's the case, then perhaps the belt would go to Braun Strowman, who is, of course, a younger guy, a full-time athlete in WWE. He would finally get the championship, have his Mania moment as the Universal Champion, and we can go to new creative matches with maybe Braun Strowman and maybe the Fiend after WrestleMania, or Roman Reigns when it comes back, or a triple threat match. I think the possibilities are endless, and the spear versus spear with Goldberg and Reigns can happen at a different point in each other's careers. Right now, I think the right move would be to get the belt off of Goldberg and to give it to Braun Strowman. So that's my predictions there for WrestleMania 36. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. Please, would like to know your feelings on WrestleMania 36 if you're looking forward to it. If you're not, who you think will win. Do you agree with my predictions or not? I'd like to know. Let me know in the comments right now. Like and share, and please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. We're closing in on 400 subscribers. Of course, Ask SCW is up on the channel as well. And yeah, enjoy WrestleMania, and I'll see you very soon here on SCW. The next video should be dropping on Thursday this week, so yeah, look out for that. That will be WrestleMania 15 review with me and George, going back in time there for a retro review, SCW Rewind. But that's all from me. This is WrestleMania 36, the predictions from me, Steve, here on SCW, and I will see you next time. Enjoy WrestleMania 36.